Working. Hey, Jonathan.
Hello,
Man, it worked. Great. Let me get my camera.
it's my hello everybody.
Yeah,
How's going everything there?
everything is great. Just hanging out.
Okay,
How
it's
about
my
you?
first it's my first live chat on Facebook.
You
I
know, the,
used to do that in on Instagram.
the other day was my first on Instagram. So we're all learning new things.
Okay, great.
Cool. Well, we're gonna get started here. I think just regardless of how many people are tuning in, and people can always catch up. But
Okay,
I'll start off by just saying thanks so much for being here, Jonathan, and really excited to talk with you. And we have a lot of really interesting questions from Petosa artists and accordionists across the country who have been using your system. The harmonic microphones have been such an amazing development for accordionists all over the place, and here is no exception. But before we get into all the questions, I think everybody would love to know a little bit about you, about your experience as an accordionist, and also your experience in creating and developing this system. So, could you give us a little bit of history about your musician, your experience as an accordionist, and also the development of the harmonic microphones?
yeah, sure. I'm very happy to be here with you and do this live and receive that questions that in fact surprised me because it is very interesting questions that I do not receive every day. So very good to talk about that, and of course harmonic, it's very related with my experience as accordion player and as engineer, and my experience with studio recordings and all that the beginning of my story with the music.
Excellent. So, when did you start playing? How and yeah, let's start with when did you start playing accordion?
Well, my family, it's my father is a musician, was a musician, and he had a band for more than 20 years. And also my brothers, my older brothers, I am the younger, and they are drummers.
Cool.
So all the family is involved with music. And I started with about 10 years old with the keyboards, electronic keyboards. And I think for the year that I started with that, it's what the keyboard started to be very popular and on that year. So my father also plays keyboard. So I entered to I I did some classes on that, and I think 2 years later, when I was 12, uh, I received in my schools two accordion teachers. That was uh, they were like inviting the child to to his music school,
Okay.
and they both play accordion.
Okay.
There was father and son, and they started to play, and it was in fact the first time I saw someone playing accordion, and I mean very well played.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to explain that because I don't remember in fact, but my father said that I just told him that I talked to the teacher, and I started I want to start the accordion classes.
Awesome.
So I make the decision without ask to my father and without ask to anyone. So I cannot explain, but the accordion finds me, I think.
I think the accordion finds everyone. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
So I started with piano accordion, and a little and sometime after I started, my uncle showed me a diatonic accordion, 80 bass diatonic accordion, and I found in love with that instrument. I don't know to explain why, because maybe the size, when you are young, the size of a diatonic accordion is very I don't know, invites you to play.
It's comfortable, a little bit better than
comfortable.
Yeah.
And also the sound, it's a different sound.
Sure.
And I left the piano accordion and just started with the diatonic accordion, and that was the beginning of my study with in the accordion world.
And you play a chromatic accordion now?
Yeah. And sometimes after that, I think 5 years later, I start to receive many informations, many many music from chromatic accordion players like Richard Galliano, like Nini Flores, that is a Argentinian accordion player, and I did not had that quantity of notes, that research, that sound that the chromatic accordion has. So I did a research about the system that Nini Flores, this Argentinian accordionist, play, what system he played. So it's kind of chromatic accordion, but the layout of the notes is based on diatonic accordion.
Oh, okay.
So it's easy to you to go from the diatonic to chromatic.
Okay.
You know.
Interesting.
You just lose that. When you close and open the bellow, the note is the same for a chromatic accordion. So that is the only thing that changed it for me. Amazing. And I know it's very strange because I don't play not even C grave and not even B grave system.
Something else.
But it's a system that many accordionists play here on the south of Brazil and also Argentina.
Amazing.
And I'm developing the study on that system, that's no method, that's no teachers, and it's a good challenge to play another styles like bossa nova, jazz, or chorinho on that instrument, that layout. So I'm on that. I'm just on that point.
That's so cool, though. It's so unique, and we talk a lot about this, Jamie and I, about accordions and how there's so many different, you know, there's so many different types and layouts and systems for accordion. Of course, there are the most popular ones, but there are also all of these systems that are kind of in between one and the other, or you know, it's not B, it's not C, it's not a fully diatonic, but it has this, that's all related, you know. How did
Yeah.
so as you're, you know, playing and stuff, what was your experience with microphones, and how did you kind of decide to create, and where did this idea come from to start Harmonic and to create this amazing system?
Well, I think everything started when my father started to play a little bit with home studio recording. During I was at I was doing the graduation of electronic engineer, and I liked to study that studio recording, and I started to research and study about microphones. And I remember during the graduation, every circuit or every system that the teacher was showing to us, I imagined something on audio. You know, I imagined something, some audio wave passing through the circuit, or audio wave passing through the system, and also always the audio was in my mind. I had some experience with when I played in a band with external JTS microphones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's Chinese microphone for brass and wind instruments. And at that time they made an adaptation to the accordions, because there was no system for the accordions, like internal system that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like an adaptation. I had to make a drill on the grill of my accordion to install that, and was not a good experience for my accordion, but it kind of worked. When I come to Porto Alegre, that is a big city here, I started I saw on a DVD a show, live recording, Luciano Maya, it's an accordion player from here, playing with internal system. And I immediately got impressed by the knobs, you know, the knobs with volume, and that is no microphones, that was not any microphone on the grill. You cannot, it's invisible.
Right.
So the sound was okay, and I started to think about what is that. So I asked him, and he said that it was Italian system. No, as we know, that is music tech. And okay, I installed one. There was a guy here that installed it at that time, and now he uses Harmonik, so it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I did some comparison between the GTS or the AKG that many accordion players used to use on the grill outside. That AKG does not feedback. It's a little bit strong from feedback, but music tech was not.
Mm-hmm.
So, but music tech was very practical, and AKG was not, and also AKG was very expensive to have 2 or 3 microphones on the right hand and 1 on the bass,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, complications that you have to face.
Oh yeah.
And I had a friend on that time that, well, I had that system. I used music tech for some period, and I knew about the problems we had on that time.
Mm-hmm.
And also the colleagues, the accordionists was asking me, how can I solve that problem with feedback? How can I do that? And I started to compare the technically, because I had at that time I was at the end of my electrical graduation. I started to compare technically the AKG and the music tech and all the systems that I knew at that time, and to check the difference, why one system works with that and why it not works. And I think I pick the best from each system. I think that was the idea. The first, I remember a friend of mine said that, well, why don't you try to develop your own microphone system? You can try to make one and test. And okay, so I started to research microphones, and I found on that time that to not have problem with feedback, you must use a directional capsule. You must use a directional microphone, and I started with that. So, and the first time, my first system was with 7 microphones on right hand and 1 on the bass. So I started with a cheap microphone, and okay, the feedback was okay, but the sound was not okay. And I started with this research with better components, better microphones, testing every piece, and testing with also my experience with studio recordings. We can measure that comparing with a great external microphones.
Mm-hmm.
And I did all of that comparison.
I think anybody who uses the system can tell that there's been a lot of care taken to create the sound, because it is a huge difference from where we were and where we are now in terms of the quality that these microphones are providing. Um, how long did it take the whole system to evolve? Like, what was the entire length from when it began until now?
Yeah, well, all the systems are always receiving small improvements. When we have the possibility to improve, we will improve something. But I started with my tests in 2012, and I think in 2015 I made the HQ line. That was the first system I made. That was that was sold on the first system was the AC 5001.
Mm-hmm.
and when my partner, that also my brother Jefferson, enters in the partnership, we developed the HQ line, that is the AC 5001 HQ, that is high quality, that we put the best we could find on the market, connectors, microphones. Also, we redesigned the shock mount, the suspension shock mount system, the circuit, the circuit board, the package. We did all, and the name also, harmonic microphones, instrument microphones, the name in English, because we could put a name in Portuguese, but we were think about export the product, you know, make the product that not the local market will accept, but all the world. So we tried to make an kind of exportation type microphone. So we put all we could in quality.
I think it really shows, and I have one here with me. I want to ask some questions about that in a second here, and I might show some of the parts here on the camera. I do also want to share a few questions and comments from artists around the country who have responded back in with some questions and like I said, comments here. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Merle Allen Sanders, accordionist, composer, arranger, and educator from right here in the Seattle area. He says, my experience with harmonic microphones has been great. The superior natural sound quality is better than anything I've ever tried in the past. Even at high volume, the microphone delivers clear, undistorted, beautiful accordion sound. It has allowed me to play things impossible to accomplish in the past and has added to my artistic expression when playing with other instruments. It also eases the strain on my body in any situation, particularly in high pressure, higher volume situations with other musicians. I wish I had this system 25 or 30 years ago. So some pretty glowing remarks there, but also he had a question about speaker placement. He says that in some areas, you know, being closer or this or that from the microphones, that sometimes, you know, it's still possible to get a little bit of feedback, although he does, you know, recognizes the feedback resistance is really great. But is there any recommendations you have about placing your speakers for a performance?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I would like to thank him for the words. I am very happy to know that. And yes, the system is very resistant to feedback, but it's still a microphone that in a certain point it will feedback if you raise a lot the volume. And there is some problems when you raise the volume, and also when you with the position of the monitors. But I think the most important is the linearity of the monitor. The linearity. So, and also the linearity of the monitor with the acoustic of the place, because there is an interaction between the monitor, the acoustic of the place, and the microphone. There is an acoustic interaction. So this is what how can I say that? This is the first reason feedbacks happens. Sure. So the placement of the monitor when you need high volume I recommend to place the monitor on your left and on your back.
Behind you.
On the back, yeah, behind you.
Okay.
So your body kind of filter, your body kind of filter medium and high frequencies.
Sure.
So like your body kind of blocks that mid and high frequencies to enter in your microphones.
Sure.
Of course, you will not hear the sound the same if the monitor is in front of you, but you can compensate that on the mixer or on the tone control.
Sure.
But I think it's the best
sounds like
configuration
to be sure, let's say.
Yeah, it's the best to have the best the best volume. It's the best position for the monitor.
Interesting. Cool. I love it. Then let's talk a little bit about how we talked a little bit about it already with how is the feedback eliminated on these? We talked about directional microphones. Does the shock mount play any part in this too? And can you elaborate a little bit on why it's so good at canceling feedback?
Yeah, I think it's the sum of these three factors: the directionality of the microphone, the suspension system, the shock mount system, and also the circuit. I think is this three. I don't think I am sure of that because
so, I have the system here just in case anybody is wondering what we're talking about. So the microphones here are shock mounted. This is a brand new system, and these are directional microphones. So they're only capturing sound coming this way and nothing coming from the back.
Yeah, very attenuated from the back. In fact, and very well filtered by the circuit, because there are frequencies that are problematic for accordion and does not is not important for the sound of the accordion, but could feedback on stage.
Sure.
So we should make a treatment for that frequencies. And also the shock mount system is very important because the feedback is very related to resonances or non-linearity of the system. Like a linear system, you have all the frequencies that has the same energy, the same power.
Okay.
And when you have a non-linearity, maybe one or two frequencies, it's more powerful or respond on that system more powerful than others. So when you have a closed grill in your accordion, the grill is not fully opened and it's closed, there is some resonance on that. So when the mechanic when you have a mechanic noise on that, you mechanic vibration that was generated by you playing on the keyboard, this this sound of the resonance of the grill, it starts to come up.
Get picked up.
So yeah, So the first system I made has not the suspension system, the shock mount.
Okay.
So I did a shock mount system, and it kind of I had a clear sound compared with without shock mounted system. So I could eliminate that problem with high pass filter, for example, and eliminating bass frequencies. But the sound of the accordion goes to the space. So a good shock mount system is very important, because you can keep the low frequencies of the accordion without having the low frequencies vibration by the mechanic vibration noise. So that's the point of the shock mount. And also the directionality of the microphone. We should pick the best directional microphone, but we also have to care about the frequency response of the microphone, also to care about the dynamic of the microphone, because the capsule inside of the grill receives so much sound pressure that it's very easy to distort the sound. So also all that points you have to consider when you test a microphone. So I buy at that time I tested so many microphones and capsules, and I found the best sound with the best feedback resistance. It's not just feedback resistance, but you have to balance the two basic things for us, that it's sound and feedback resistance. So you can hear what you are playing, and being comfortable with the sound.
Well, it's pretty amazing. I would just say it's pretty amazing the level of care and attention that you've given like all these different components. That, gosh, it certainly is really clear when you plug in your system for the first time. You're like, wow, this is such a different experience than other systems of the past, and there's a bunch of them out there. I have a few other people that have some questions and some comments here that are also sort of related to what we're talking about here. I have Bruce Sunpie Barnes out of New Orleans, Louisiana. He says, I love the Harmonik mics, amazing product. He says he had a question about bass versus treble relationships, and this is something that I've noticed a little bit too, and I imagine it has to do with the type of mic that we're using for the different sides. He's noticing that the left hand, he feels like the left hand is more powerful at full volume than the right hand at full volume. And he has a question on how to best balance that. Do you have any words of wisdom?
Yeah, the microphones from left and right hand is different.
Right.
So on the right hand you have directional microphones, and the accordions, usually the accordions, you have a very opened grill on the right hand, and a very closed grill on the left hand. So you should use different microphones, because there could be problems with sound frequency cancellation, and many problems on that. So the problem he mentioned about the left hand being more powerful than the right hand? Well, it depends of the accordion, because when I tested here, I made in a normal Italian full-size Casotto accordion, and of course, if you test in Petosa or a 07 would be the same. But if you test an Scandali, maybe it changes. Depends how the powerful is the bass and how the powerful is the right hand, the treble. So you should compensate that on the volume control.
Sure. And also, like you said too, the microphone in the left hand is omnidirectional, and it's in an enclosed space, so it has a different set of, let's say, it has a different response, or I guess I should say that the left hand seems like it can be, on my accordion too, it can be quite loud, and I like it a lot, to be able to really hear the left hand. But is kind of regarding that too, Frank Petrilli, accordionist from Los Angeles, he asked about, is there like optimum volume levels for recording or performing in terms of, let's say, the performance of the system?
Yeah, I am doing also a video about that question, and it's very simple to understand, because when you play live, you should use not a minimum volume and not the maximum volume. Mm-hmm. You have to put in the middle 50%. Mm-hmm. So you can rise or you can slow the volume. Mm-hmm. So it's the function of the volume control. It's for that. Mm-hmm. It's have nothing to do with feedback. When you put the volume in 100%, it will not improve the sound, or it will not improve the feedback resistance. No, that is not related with the sound. It's just the volume, that it's just the signal that is going to the mixer. Sure. So if you put 100%, you will have a problem with the mixer, because maybe you have to use attenuation, pad attenuation in the mixer, and if you put on 50%, you will have a good and powerful signal audio to the mixer. And you also have the possibility to rise if you want, because we know when you do a check sound, it was one volume playing, but when you are in the concert, everybody starts to play a little bit more with more power, and you always need to rise the volume. So because of that, I recommend in live concerts to use 50%.
What about for recording?
And for recording, and I recommend the maximum volume you can use, but looking and paying attention of the distortion and the input of your interface.
Of course.
So when you use the maximum volume for a recording, you put also the maximum signal level in the cables, and you have a better relation when in terms of signal and noise. So for recording, it's important that. So for recording, I recommend use the maximum volume you can.
That's excellent. Also, Jamie and I were just doing some live streams, and when we're doing the live streams, we have a little bit less control over the EQ of the sounds that we're getting into the computer, because we're just running a lot of stuff. And the tone control on the 5001 HQ or the 5001 Plus has been really helpful, because it makes it one less step. Now I don't have to go into the computer and EQ it there. I can just get a little bit more bass if I want, or whatever the case is. But um, another question about the system. I have Josh Howe from also from Seattle, accordionist here. He says he's loved the accordion, loved everything about the system, and he's been doing quite a few videos and collaborations with different people, and using the harmonic system, and sometimes using microphones. And I know we talked a lot about his experience and how it's been really positive. He asks, would it be possible to have an external stereo mono switch? Now, I know if you guys don't know about the 5001 Plus here, there is a little switch here that allows us to go from a mono signal to a stereo signal. And this is really effective, you know, for a bunch of different situations. And the only issue that Josh is having is taking the, you know, I think is taking the grill off and having to do that every time. Is there possibilities out there for creating an external switch, or maybe it's an option that people could add if they wanted that?
Yeah, well, we had some demand of this function, that this kind of usability. I know that there is some accordions that it's not easy to take to open the grill to change, but it's also a problem if you have to put an external switch that you have to make an extra drill on the grill,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not good. And so we could, I think, the best way, thinking just now about that, it's you could take out this switch that comes in the plus model, and solder external switch that you find good for your accordion. We could recommend some switch, but in fact we did not plan to include that on the system, because you cannot use two switch,
Mm-hmm.
one external and one internal. You need to remove the internal or the external.
Right.
So it's not a difficult thing to do, but it's also difficult to choose external switch that is not big and also discreet,
Mm-hmm.
and also good quality, because should not interfere in your sound quality.
Sure.
But it's possible.
Maybe we'll maybe we
I
can
would.
stay on. We'll keep well, maybe we can keep talking about it, and maybe someday we'll figure out.
Yeah, because if is more people that want that, we for sure we will develop a solution for sure.
Excellent.
So please tell me if you have more people that needs that.
Awesome. I have another friend of mine, Dallas Vietti from Brooklyn, having a couple questions about, also, he loves the system. He had it installed here at the shop. Do you have any plans for accommodating free basses? Because I know, you know, I think some concerns that free bass players had was that maybe the omnidirectional microphone wouldn't have an even capture of a free bass instrument. Do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, we provide an external mic for the bass. We can supply that.
Okay.
And it's very easy to connect with the standard kit, you know, the standard set.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have much request for that, but if you want, it's very very easy to do. So
Okay.
we put one extra mic for the bass and should solve all the problem.
Excellent. And then how about he also asked about phantom power.
Yes, we are releasing in 1 or 2 months maybe a signature system of Richard Galliano signature system that is powered by phantom, also powered by battery, and it can be powered by both. If you have phantom, okay. If you don't have, the battery can power that. So it's kind of a special system with stereo output and just volume control. So it's like Galliano asked it to be. So I think 1 month, because we need to make all the video demonstration and pictures of that on the accordions, on the Galliano's accordions. So now it's quite impossible to make that on this pandemic situation. So the system is ready to release, but for sure we have to provide all the informations and videos and all that stuff.
We can't wait. It's going to be great. I know, I'm sure everybody's going to be excited to see these things. I mean, every time that you guys make a new development in your product, I mean, the response it shows that you have a really quality system, because you make something new and everybody is ready, you know, they're ready to upgrade, or they're, you know, that you're still thinking about how to continuously develop and how to meet the demands of accordionists, and I think that's just, again, it speaks very highly of your product and how you do business. I also want to talk. I have a couple more here. Gosh, there's a lot of people who really responded to these questions, and I don't want to leave anybody out. And all of them kind of lead to questions. So Dave Slavinsky, Michigan accordionist, said, first of all, love the harmonic mics, exceeded my expectations and have worked well. Had many accordion players during the past few years ask about the microphones. The accordion just does not feed back and has a very full and natural sound and volume. He appreciates the stereo and mono configuration. It just works. He says, I have found live that mono works great and do not need the extra EQ of a stereo system. He says he just loves them. And I think the improvements continuing, that's sort of what got me to his comment. But also I do want to talk about a little bit, maybe not too much, but some of these copycat systems out there. I don't want to say copycat systems, they're just other systems. And maybe how, you know, we don't have to be specific, but just, you know, what do you think sets your product apart? We've talked about a lot of things already that I think speak to that, but and also I want to say I don't want to put down anybody else's systems. I think it's great that everybody is working and making the best things they can for whatever market or wherever they live. That's important. But I feel like this product, Harmonik, is a really superior system to so many things, in a lot of different aspects. And could you elaborate a little bit on your experience with other systems that are around, and what are the things that you feel like differentiate Harmonik from competitors?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, David, for that. Thanks, Dave, for that words. I really appreciate. And you can differentiate Harmonik from the other systems, and for many using many comparison, like first of all, the quality of the connectors, something that you can see, you know, the quality of the connectors, the quality of because doesn't matter if your microphone sounds good, but when you are playing, there is some audio noises, or the sound stops, or so good connectors are very important. And the quality of the assembling, the cables, the quality of the cables, the quality of the soldering, it's very important for the long-term working of the system. And also the circuit assembling, circuit components, the quality of that, it's something that you can, I know that you have to have some experience on that to see what is a good soldering, a good assembling electronic, but I think if you compare, you can see.
That was one of the first things that when I got the system back in the day, and showed Joe here, and we talked about it. It was something that we both commented a lot about, was, you know, the quality of the construction of the system. You can tell when you look at the system, everything is gone over, everything is checked, and it's very neat. It's a very, you know, when it doesn't, you don't have to be an expert to look at it and say, this looks like there was a lot of care in creating this particular product.
Yeah, and for sure, something that you cannot compare looking, it's the microphones.
Right.
So that you have to listen to.
Sure.
So you have to try to listen for the distortion of the distortion, and when you put high pressure playing, and also the detail of the sound, because I think that is the thing that we are different from the other cheap brands, or other brands that are on the market, that the sound, we put a lot on we invested a lot on the microphones and on the circuit to have a very detailed and dynamic sound. So this is something you have to pay attention when you are listening to a microphone.
I tell everybody, like, you know, if you have a different system and you just magically had the harmonic system installed the next day, or, you know, you don't have to be some kind of audio expert to be able to hear the difference. It's really easy. It is very clear. I feel like the sound of the accordion is very well represented across the entire spectrum, between the warmth and the quality of the left hand, and but still the right hand it doesn't have lots of mid-range. It has a full spectrum sound, where the highs are very bright and they're very clean and easy to hear, but if you play in bassoon, it still has this great warmth and clarity, and it's very easy to see. And also, when we look at the people who are playing these systems, like if Richard Galliano is getting a custom harmonic system, I think it's probably, I mean, it continues to speak to the quality. So that was another question I had, was upcoming projects besides the Richard Galliano model. Is there anything else kind of happening? We have Zeldy here with us right now watching. Hi, Zelda. and she has the harmonic system in her Frank Morocco jazz model from Petosa. And she was also wondering about, I know that you guys have guitar microphones. Are there any plans for maybe microphones for wind instruments, clarinet, saxophone, something like that?
Not for now. We are focused on the instrument microphone. Something that has not been done yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like we released a guitar, acoustic guitar system
Mm-hmm.
that has a kind of innovation on the microphones, quality of the microphones on that we know that many acoustic guitar system use not good microphones, and the microphone is just something extra.
Mm-hmm.
But in our system, the microphones for the acoustic guitars is the main pickup source, and we can really adding a good solution for the acoustic guitar players.
Excellent.
For the saxophone and others wind instruments, we don't have any request for now. So we used to work when we have many requests on that. So guitar players have been requesting us for maybe 2 years, and we started to develop that system. So also now we have, as you can see there, I am studying that instrument that is a mandolin and a cavaquinho. So that is a very popular instrument here. So we are doing some research on that instruments now.
Excellent. And for those of you guys out there who don't know, if you're thinking, if you don't already know about the array of systems that Harmonic has, and also if you're looking to find out some more details about the system, all of this is on the Harmonic website. And we'll put a link to that if we already haven't in the video here. There are several different models right now. You guys have really expanded to make it to where any accordion can have a harmonic system in it. Any size, any shape, any type, right hand only, whatever. So people who are curious, there's a lot of stuff out there. And we were talking about the copycat systems and different systems and how they differ. And if you're somebody who is very particular about audio and you are skilled at this stuff, and you know what frequency response means and different things like that, you can go online. None of this stuff is private information. You can go out there and look exactly what components and what the response is of these systems, so you can do the comparison for yourself if you need to. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'd like to add. You know, we're getting close to an hour here, and I don't want to take up all of your time talking about all these amazing things, but I do have another comment from Daniel Walker, who is the keyboardist and accordionist for the band Heart. He got the system a little while ago, and he said, served me great all summer on the Heart tour. The sound quality is great. The rejection of outside sounds and anti-feedback is amazing. He was able to use reverb and effects on the accordion without turning it into a mess, which is classic. You know, this is I've had this exact same issue trying to use like a reverb pedal or messing around with that, and it was impossible. And now, you know, I've messed around with some different pedals, and I think Daniel is having the same the same experience, which is it's it's really easy. I think the best part about this system is that it's so easy to use. You don't have to be thinking about, let me get my EQ box. Let me make sure the speaker is pointed, not close, or I don't want to move because if I move, it's going to be feedback or something. So right now, just like the ease of use where you plug it in, it works, it sounds great right out of the box, you know?
Oh, great, great. Wow.
So just lots of compliments, everybody just loves your stuff. We love it here at Petosa too. And I know that everybody who's gotten this system has been impressed and very appreciative. And I guess I don't have any other questions for you, Jonathan. Is there anything else that you want us to know about Harmonik or your plans for the future or just anything?
Well, we are always listening to the musicians. The musicians. In fact, we our job here is translate what the musicians need to a solution in our microphones. Translate that, make that translation. Please stay in touch with us, the accordion players or the guitar players, because we would love to make something special. That is, our company is not a big company; it's a small company, but we feel very, very happy to know that we are making something special and dedicated for a special public. That is the accordion players. That is my colleagues, in fact, and that is pretty much what we do. We listen to the musicians and also the sound technicians, because musicians can speak in their language, not technically, but
Yes.
when you speak with the sound engineers or sound technicians, you have another kind of feedback. So we try to make the life or the work of them easy for the both sides, musician and also sound technicians. And we are very happy to work with a company like Petosa Accordions, and we know that Petosa is very, very respected. Also here in Brazil, the accordionists, as the dream of the accordion players to have a Petosa accordion, and all of the world, we know the respect that the accordionists have for this brand, and we are very happy to work with you and with a company that have such care of the quality. We know that Petosa it's some synonym of quality. So I can see now why are you working with Petosa, because also you know very well what you are doing and the accordion you play and the sound of the accordion. So I think you and the expertise of Joe and Joey, all the Petosa team make that difference for the support and for the support for the accordion players.
I think we all appreciate that very much, Jonathan, and I think it's the feeling is very mutual. We're proud to have your systems here, and happy to be working with you, and appreciate your commitment to quality, and you're always so responsive too. Sometimes I'll text you and I think like, man, it's gonna be like 3 in the morning or something. Jonathan, he won't respond. and then you respond. So you're always like, you're always on the clock, man.
Yeah, we we know that maybe for the customer, when he have maybe one question, it's a big question for him, but for us, that it's our work, it's kind of a little question that we can help a lot the customer. So we feel very happy to work with you, and we feel very confident to 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 be represented by Petosa and by you, by your care, that we know that you will care with the installation and with the destination of the microphone, good installation, and you will you are able to choose the best for your accordionists.
Well, Jonathan, it's like I said, it's our pleasure, and I think we'll wrap it up. Though, thank you so much for being here, and I think hopefully we get a chance to hear about those new things as soon as possible, and I'm sure we'll keep talking, and hope that you and your family and loved ones are staying safe and healthy, and that goes for everybody who's watching out there. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. Thanks to Petosa Accordions for hosting the event, and I hope to see everybody again really soon.
Well, thank you very much again for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to have this chat with you and receive that questions and also that words from the accordionists that have been using our microphones. And I hope one day we can meet personally, and I really would love to visit you there. So very soon.
That sounds good, man. Okay, Jonathan, we'll talk to you soon, okay? Have an awesome day.
You too, mate.
Bye.
Bye-bye.